So what is the most optimal time of the day to train? Is it the morning, midday, night? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I do, I just want to show you my top set for today. Today is day 86. I hit a top set of 170. Feeling down. I've had a couple of night duties, and so my sleep and food has been absolutely shocking. Sort of feel like I have a sore throat, so it's my body is burnt out at the moment. So I try to be really careful with the volume I did today and the intensity. So it's just punch the clock day today, really. Even on days like this, I think it's beneficial to train. I mean, I don't have a choice. Like, I'm squatting every day, but for you guys out there, if you rock up on a given day and it's your training day and you're feeling like shit, don't be a numbskull and just push through it. Just do what you can and call it a day, really. It's better than sitting on the couch and not doing anything. So yeah, hit 170, did some benching afterwards, and that's about it for today. In this video, I just want to talk about, like I mentioned already, what is the most optimal time during the day to train. I've done all of it. I've trained at all points of the 24-hour cycle. I've even trained 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when I was a bit younger. A couple of my friends went to a 24-hour gym and we just trained when nobody was in the gym. That was a pretty cool experience, but is that the most optimal time? So for me, I've been training in the AM for quite a while now. I think morning sessions for me suited me for quite a long time, especially when I was doing the intermittent fasting. I still do intermittent fasting on and off, but it's not so much every single day now. It worked really well because you can wake up, skip breakfast, do your workout, and then have lunch, and that's how it worked for me. But right now I am still training in the morning. I have breakfast here and there. It doesn't have to. I don't have it every single day. But for me, I want to talk about a couple of points that impact my training sessions and what time I choose to train in the day. The first and most important, like it is for everyone, I'm guessing, is the social reason. What I mean by that is that I have a family. I've got a couple of kids, and for us, I'm sure if you guys have kids, you probably understand this as well. Night times is probably the worst time. The most cranky. There's bathing. There's just the whole routine. Whereas in the morning, they're much more happier and more energetic and just happier in general. So I can slip away and go to the shed and train. So that's the number one reason really why I train in the morning. But there are other reasons why you should consider training at a particular time in the day. So the first one is the social, what I already mentioned, but the second one is the hormonal side. There's some things to your body that happen throughout the 24-hour cycle that you might not have considered before. The first off is that cortisol level is at its highest in the morning. That's exactly what wakes you up, a cortisol spike. And with that comes testosterone increases and a whole host of other things. So in the morning, if you're interested about doing hypertrophy training, it's probably the most optimal to do it in the morning. You're the freshest and you've got the most energy, and so that suits that well. However, your central nervous system is probably at its lowest point at that particular point. You've spent say 8 hours sleeping, non-active. Your body's starting to wake up, and then you go to the gym and you're still kind of like in a bit of a rut, I guess. That's why people have coffees and other stimulants and whatever to get their day started. So it's like an inverse relationship between testosterone, cortisol, your hormonal profile, and your central nervous system. Your central nervous system is at its best in the PM sessions. That's why I don't know whether you guys experienced this, but you're probably stronger later in the day, whereas you're probably weaker earlier in the day. However, there's more testosterone and anabolic kind of hormones in the morning, whereas in the afternoon you're probably more tired. You've been up for a certain period of time. So central nervous system is fully up and about in the sort of PM sessions. Now, if you're talking about midnight, then it's probably not the case. I'm talking about like a 6 p.m. session when I'm talking about the afternoon sessions. So probably to maximize both of these things, middle of the day is most optimal, but we all have jobs, we all have families. Middle of the day is usually a very busy time for most of us. The other thing is in the early sessions, in the morning sessions, I mean, I've experienced this especially when I've done sessions before work at 5 a.m. sessions, 4:30 a.m. sessions. you're so stiff. You're really, really stiff. Like I said, you've been sleeping for 8 hours. Your body has been inactive for basically 8 hours, and then you wake up and you're supposed to get into a deep squat position. Fascia is tight. Your flexibility is at its lowest point early in the morning. I've noticed that as well. Maybe that plays into the whole central nervous system as well. When your central nervous system is awake, you can maybe get into better positions because, I don't know, you've been moving, you've kind of greased, I guess, your body throughout the day. And maybe that's why you're also stronger in the PM sessions, because you can get into better positions. Your flexibility, your fascia is kind of released, and you're kind of stronger, both for the central nervous system reason and also the fascia and whatnot. And the last reason, the last point to consider is also food. Early, if you train really early in the morning, you probably don't have a lot of food in your gut, and so you're kind of going on a bit on the empty. The good thing about that is that you have 3 or 4 meals after that session to kind of catch up and recover. Whereas if you're leaving training until the afternoon, you might only have 1 meal, and if you leave it really late, a late session in the gym, by the time you get home, shower, eat, you're probably going to go to bed like at midnight. So it just depends. So it's like a continuum between the two extremes. I think the most optimal, if your job was to train and that's all you did, your whole life structure was based around training. If I had that flexibility, I would definitely train in the middle of the day somewhere, around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, something like that. But it's something to think about. I don't know whether you guys have thought about this before. It's crossed my mind. I've recorded all of my training sessions, and I've noticed that the training sessions that I do in the afternoon tend to go a little bit better for me. My training is predominantly, squatting every day, and it's mostly central nervous system training, really. I don't do a lot of metabolic conditioning. So for me, I really notice it when I'm, going heavy in the PM sessions. Everything just feels lighter. I get into better positions. I just feel happier lifting. In the early sessions, man, it takes me a long while to get my ankles, right, to get my hips right. I'm not one of those people that can just squat into a, ass to grass squat first thing in the morning and think nothing of it. It takes me a long time to kind of get loose in the hips and the ankles and whatnot and get started. So something to consider. I've made my decision purely on the social reasons, like I said to you. It's too busy at night for us, it just suits me better to training in the morning. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got here for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. When do you guys train? I'm actually really intrigued to find out when you guys train, or does it just fluctuate? Do you train whenever time permits? But yeah, hit me up in the comments if you see this video, and just tell me, when do you prefer to train in the day? And I want to know your reasoning as well. I think it's quite an interesting topic that not a lot of people talk about. Anyway, thanks guys. Catch you in the next one.